It is the 20th anniversary of September 11th. And so in honor of that day and remembering our great country, today we are going to raise a Bearly Homesteading flagpole. Hello and welcome to Bearly Homesteading. This is Lumberjack. And as I said, it is September 11th. 20 years ago, our country was attacked by militants who wanted to take away our freedom. And so today we remember those who fell and those who have served our country to maintain that freedom that was tried to be taken away from us. And in honor of that, we're going to raise a flagpole and proudly fly the American flag on that pole in remembrance of this day. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to prep the stump where we're going to mount the flagpole. And so I've chosen this stump because it was green, the tree was green when we cut it down. You can actually see that there's some sap that has been sucked up through from the roots. And so there's very little rot in this stump. And so that hopefully will allow us to keep the flagpole upright on this particular place for quite a while if we can protect and treat this stump so that it doesn't rot out. We've got some other stumps in this area, but we're not going to use those because they're either too small or they already have got rot in them and we don't want to use those. All right, so we got the stump nice and flat and level in both directions. And so now to finish prepping this, we're gonna drill or bore a hole for the mounting pipe of the flagpole. All right, so the pipe that we're going to use is a steel galvanized pipe. It's a 1-inch inner diameter, which means the outer diameter is about 1.25 inches. It's 48 inches long, and so we're going to bore this out a little bit longer than 2 feet. And on the flagpole, we'll bore it out a little bit longer than 2 feet so that we've got some room, some expansion room in there. And once we get this bored out, then we will treat this and we'll go work on the flagpole. Okay, so we got that bored out, plenty deep enough. It was a challenge to get the sawdust out, as you saw. Had to get a smaller PVC pipe to be able to get in there and really get that cleaned out. So now we're going to go ahead and waterproof this, treat it with a sealer, and then we'll work on the flagpole. All right, so we're here with the flagpole. Gonna bore out the hole for the pipe. This is a 30-foot long pole. We've already waterproofed it, and so we just need to, as I said, drill out the bore, attach the hardware, and then we can raise it. Now, because this is such a small diameter compared to the pipe, we got to be really careful about boring this out. So we're actually going to use a little trick. If you add a ring, or in this case I've got a big washer, to your long boring bit, as you go out of level, that ring is going to move. And so this will help you keep the bore level as you're drilling. All right, so now we're gonna put the hardware in at the top of the flagpole. We're gonna start by putting in an eyelet that we can hang the pulley from. We then have a connecting link so that we can hang the pulley. And then, since this is 30 feet in the air, we want to get the rope strung through it now before we actually put it up, because it's going to be a lot harder once it's up. So the last time we were so close, the pipe got caught as it lifted up. It grabbed this edge and jammed itself within the hole. So to fix that, I've beveled the edge to hopefully prevent that from happening. All right, so as the winds come through here, this pole's going to want to sway, and with that pipe inside, it's going to want to split this pole. So we're going to take a lesson from the shipbuilders. We're going to tightly wrap this pole with rope so that as it sways and wants to split, that rope is going to squeeze and hold it together and keep it from splitting. Now that is something to be proud of. We want to, at this time, remember those who were so tragically affected by the September 11th tragedy 20 years ago. And we also want to remember those brave servicemen and women from the military who do so much and sacrifice so much for our freedoms. This is Lumberjack from Homesteading saying, we will never forget.